Next, we're going to put in our key pickups as well as the lights that will be next to them. So let's go into the content browser. And if we go underneath the static meshes group, you'll see our key. Now the key doesn't, at the moment, have its material applied. Don't worry about that. We'll take care of that in a moment. Let's go ahead and grab the static mesh. And the first key is going to go right over here in this little alcove. Now, you can put these really wherever you want the player to go get them, but if we get like a bird's eye view coming around the corner, we're going to put one up here in this alcove, and then another one over here in this alcove, and then one way up here on the other side. But you've got some creative freedom here. So let's right-click, and we're going to go to Add Actor and add this as an interp actor. And there it is. Now, if we want to go ahead and apply the material to this, let's go ahead and jump into the content browser. And if we check our materials, there's an m_key. So let's go over to static meshes, open this guy up, jump into LOD info, expand all the way down to material, and then the materials group we'll grab m_key and pop this in and close. So now that takes care of that. So let's close this, go back into the level, and you can see our material is nicely applied. Okay, now that's one key. Let's go ahead and get this one key set up, and then we can just duplicate it over and get the rest of them set up. So the first thing we're going to do is rotate this thing 45 degrees in the x-axis. So we can do that manually if we want to. Just grab it and rotate it back. So that's actually -45. So the little tooth on it is pointed downward. And we'll kind of center that up on the alcove. Now let's go ahead and duplicate this key off. So the first one's over there. Let's put the next one just on the opposite side. So I'm holding down Alt and just sliding that over. And then we'll slide this back. Now I could be using the orthographic view like a good little level designer. For the purposes of demonstration, I like the big pretty one. Alright, now let's grab our first key again. I'm going to hold down Alt, and we'll just drag this right over here to this alcove up above where the boss is going to be. So there's our third key. Okay, so we have our keys in place. Now let's put some lights in place to kind of help accentuate where these are. So I'll jump into the actor classes browser. Let's expand light. Let's grab point light, and we're going to grab point light toggleable. And we'll just drop one here. So right click, add point light toggleable here. We'll pick that up, kind of slide it near the key. It doesn't have to be right on top of it. Now we have some properties to set on this, so let's go ahead and press F4, and we'll go down to light component, grab the point light component, and pull its radius down to 512. Under light component, we're going to take brightness and pull that to say around 0.5, and then for the light color, just grab some nice rich and maybe a little bit darkened shade of orange, and maybe a little brighter than that. Just something to kind of help it look like it's illuminated. Alright, now there's one light, and we need some others as well, so let's hold down Alt, and we'll copy this guy off and put him over here. And last one we'll put, of course, over here with our other key. Alright, now last thing, and I really should have done this before I duplicated, but it doesn't make that much of a difference. Let's go ahead and select all three of our keys. And we're going to be picking up the keys by keeping track of when the player touches them. So I'm going to press F4 with all of our keys selected, and let's go into collision. We're going to set our collision type to collide touch all. Now what this means is that the key itself is going to be kind of like a hologram. We can't touch it, we're not going to be stopped by it. However, the engine will detect a collision, and we can now use that to our advantage to set up a touch event so that we can actually make the key get collected. Okay, so the last thing I want to set up here is just a system to make these keys spin in place. So let's go into Kismet, and we'll scroll down a little bit. And we're going to start off with a level loaded because we want these keys to start spinning as soon as the level begins. So we'll right click, come down to new event, and choose level loaded. Next to this, I'll right-click again and choose New Matinee. Now, a couple of things. One, make sure you have one of your keys selected. You really only need one in this case. And we'll open up Unreal Kismet again, which is already open. I just need to maximize it. Let's take Level Loaded and Visible and hit play. We'll open up the Matinee, right-click and create a new empty group, which we will call Keys. We'll immediately add a movement track to the group. Now, in this movement track, be sure that you scroll down in the properties and see Use Quat Interpolation. This is for quaternions. Make sure that that is checked. Now, we already have our initial keyframe set up, so that's good. Come over here to 0.5 seconds, and we're going to drop down a new key. And let's make sure that snapping is back on. I'd like things to be nice and neat here, but this first one I'll set the time back to 0.5, so everything's nice and clean. Let's close out Kismet in the background, but leave Matinee up. Now, we're adjusting key 1. Notice that here inside the viewport. And what I'm going to do is rotate our key in the z-axis 90 degrees. And it can be 90 or negative 90. It really just depends on which direction you want the key to spin. Now, let's come over here to 1 second. And we'll drop down another key. So adjust key 2. Pull this to an additional 90 degrees. And then 1 second, 0.5. Adjust key 3 to another 90 seconds. And then at 2 seconds, drop one more, and we'll rotate it all the way back to where it began. So now as we scrub through, you see it's spinning. Make sure you pull your Matinee length back to 2 seconds. So now, if we set this up to loop, it's just spinning, which is great. So that'll work. We can go ahead and close Matinee at this point. You can also, if you feel like it, nudge this over so it's a little bit more centered up on the alcove. If you don't like it passing through the walls, it should fit okay. Now, back over here inside of Kismet. Right now, we're powering this off of Interp Actor 2. We're going to handle this in a slightly different way. We're not just going to use just this one Interp Actor. Of course, we want to grab the others as well. The cool thing is we can just grab the other two that we left out, jump back into Kismet, and just add these in as object variables. So with them selected, you can just choose Create Object Vars using Interp Actor, etc. And we can plug these in. So now they will automatically pay attention to that animation that we've already set up. Now I should test this out real quick. So let's go ahead and close, and I'll just jump into the level. And our lighting will need to be rebuilt, so keep that in mind. Now, check it out. Our keys are not turning. Why is that? That is because we have a single checkbox we need to set up. So let's grab our Matinee, and if we scroll down, there's B looping. Or it's just looping. The B's not there. It used to be a long time ago. And let's go ahead and plug this in. At least I think it used to be. I'm used to a lot of those old Boolean variables having a B in front of them. And check it out. We have spinning keys. Now, they don't do anything. We haven't set up that behavior yet. But the keys themselves are working. So go ahead and save your level. And we will continue from here. Now, in between the videos, I am going to reach up here and click on the Build All button. And you may wish to do the same. But that will wrap things up for this video. Thanks a lot.